Well, today we're looking at the Genesis G70. For those that aren't aware, and I'm sure most of you are, Genesis is the luxury brand of Hyundai, the same way Lexus is the luxury brand of Toyota and Acura over Honda. You kind of get the idea. What Genesis does differently is that you buy the car on their website. They deliver it to you, and for 5 years, they valet the car when it's due for service. Plus, they give you 5 years of warranty coverage. And a big one, that includes your maintenance for 5 years. And another thing that Genesis does differently is all-in pricing. So what you do is you pick the car, there are no add-ons. The only thing you pay on top of the price is, of course, your provincial taxes. And that's it. Now we know about what Genesis is trying to do on the business side. Let's have a look at the car. This G70 competes in one of the most established segments in the market, the compact sports sedan. Think of the BMW 3 Series, Audi A4, and the Mercedes C-Class. Yes, this vehicle does share components with the new Kia Stinger, but the G70 is 15 centimeters shorter, has a conventional trunk over a hatch, and is much lighter. Now, Genesis is a bit of an outlier with this G70. They're offering manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. It's kind of a base model, and it's only available with the 2-liter turbocharged engine. The one we have today is the 3.3-liter turbo with what they call H-Track, or their all-wheel drive system. One interesting thing that was just announced recently, BMW is no longer going to offer their 3 Series with a manual, so this is kind of a rare car. Every single time we review a Kia or a Hyundai car, parent company of this Genesis, I always comment on how everything fits together. The fit and finish on all of their cars, including this Genesis, is absolutely top rate. Then you get into the way it's fitted. Look at this interior. Quilted seats, quilted door cards, leather stitching on top of the dashboard. It looks absolutely first rate. Plus, it comes in a wide palette of different colors and interior textures. So that is all good. One criticism is the instrument cluster behind the steering wheel. You start to look at other brands like Audi with their digital cockpit. BMW has some really avant-garde looking graphics and digital layout. This really looks kind of basic, like from the mainline cars. Now, in the center of the dash is an 8-inch screen, and it comes standard with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. As I mentioned, it's a touchscreen. There isn't a controller in the middle of the car like many competitors. One thing that does come is a wireless charging pad. This is an awesome feature. So if you want to know just how big this vehicle is, think about the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. This G70 is very close on size, so keep that in mind. So we've talked about the all-in pricing, but there's a whole lot more to talk about, mostly about how it drives. Now, the base engine for this G70 is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Pretty much everybody else in the industry has the same size displacement engine. This one has 252 horsepower, which is exactly the same as the Audi A4. But you can order one trim of that vehicle that has manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. Most of them will have all-wheel drive, and when you get all-wheel drive, you get the automatic. The majority of buyers will choose and should choose this 3.3-liter turbo V6 with a potent 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque that comes on at an amazing 1,300 RPM. And man, does this thing haul when you put your foot into it. Basically, this is like having a BMW 340 or S4, but the bargain version. The second part of the magic is the all-wheel drive system this car uses. Developed by Magna and also used by BMW, this is a rear-wheel drive bias system mimicking the straight rear-wheel drive acceleration that you expect from a sports sedan. But it has the added safety and cornering assistance that a dynamic all-wheel drive system delivers. And man, does this thing have the chops to back up the good looks. This engine, this 3.3-liter turbo, almost instant power. The transmission works very well. They've done it. They've been able to achieve what the Germans have had for decades, but from Korea, the Korean twist. Now, I was lucky enough to go to the launch of this G70. They had it at Mont-Tremblant, the racetrack. Driving a car like this around the racetrack is a lot of fun. But any car you drive around a racetrack, you're like, ooh, it handles well, it accelerates well. It's when you get it in the real world. So having this car back for a week, driving it in everyday situations, cruising on the highway, having a little bit of fun with it, and you can pretty much at any time have fun with this car, it's given me much more appreciation for what it can do. And I have to give credit where credit is due. This car is basically as good as anything that is out there from the German rivals. And if you are in the market for a sport, premium, luxury, compact sedan, you owe it to yourself, trust me on this, to try this car out. Try it with the 6-cylinder. You'll be impressed. But Zach, what does all of this cost? Well, I'll tell you. Remember, all-in pricing, 5 years of maintenance and valet service starts at $42,000. The base V6 turbo starts at $52,000, and the fully loaded Sport that you see here, $57,000. You shop around with the German competition with this much power, good luck getting one of those cars for this price tag. And by the way, this car was introduced in Canada in the spring, and sales have already shot up. So I have to say, Genesis, you made one hell of a car. Congratulations.